Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I want to share with you guys my top 5 most carried EDC folding knives over the last month or so. This was the Christmas month, so I feel like some of these knives got a lot more of a workout than other knives. Obviously, I have my own review rotation, but these are the knives that I'm reaching for outside of that rotation. Lots of fun stuff. Not everything is actually, I think everything is available. I'll link everything down in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Let's start off here with the first one. It is a budget knife. I carry this one purely, well, I carry them all because I think they're cool, but you guys haven't even seen me unbox the Civivi Neurohaptic. I think this is probably the coolest knife that Civivi has ever made, maybe outside of the Vision FG. I'm not saying that it's more capable or a better knife, but wow, the cool factor is off the charts here. This is a pretty big knife at, I think, something like 8.5 inches. Yeah, 8.5 or even 8.75 if you count the little lanyard thing back there. It's almost like a budget button lock Microtech SOCOM Elite. It kind of has that look, the modified clip pointer, whatever. I think this is Nitro V-Blade. I haven't carried it a lot, just a little bit. I mean, it's technically in the top 5 since, you know, so much of the attention is really within the top 3 of this list. But gosh, this is such a cool knife. It feels good. It looks good. I love the Shred G10. It just feels like a substantially more detailed and premium knife than it is, you know, associated with its price tag. It is actually a budget knife. I want to say it's 65 to 70, but yeah, really, really cool. I like this one a lot. Moving on here to number 4, also not a ton of pocket time versus the top 3, but definitely something I've been enjoying carrying periodically, and that's the new, apparently production Cobalt Spyderco Shaman. Ridiculously expensive at $270. I mean, for what this is, right? I mean, I think we can all agree the Shaman should be like $100 less, but it's a Spyderco and that's just what they cost now. But I do like the Spy 27. I've experienced it with a lot of other Spyderco knives. This has got kind of a thicker geometry, but the Shaman is just one of my favorite Spyderco knives. Yeah, I know I'm mispronouncing it, but I kind of like to do that. Just in particular, I like to have a reason to carry the Shaman again because I spent so much time EDCing this knife years ago and just haven't done it recently. I also just really like the cobalt blue of the scales here, and I just like the overall ergonomics. I don't like the pocket clip. I just need to send in for another MXG deep carry clip. I own, I think, 6 Spyderco Shamans now, and I changed the clip out on all of them. But this one seems to be breaking in very slowly. So it's fine, but it's slower than some of the other ones I've had. And I did notice, I think, general wonkiness with it. Yeah, right here, just a little bit of wonkiness with the bevel on this one, but it's cool. I really like it. It's just really, really expensive. You kind of have to really love the Shaman and really love Cobalt Blue to go for it, but I have enjoyed a reason to carry the Shaman again. Moving on here to number 3, this one has seen a way more pocket time. I have really enjoyed carrying the new Microtech Scarab 2 Gen 3. This is a big, bulky double action OTF. Mine's stonewashed, and that's just the basic blade, right? Just the sort of drop point blade. But the new switch on these is so satisfying to use. I already liked these Scarab 2 a lot, and I found it to be one of the easiest knives to deploy in Microtech's lineup. And even here having the ZBT version of the Ultratech, I found that the Scarab, I just enjoy it more, even though it doesn't have the special zero blade play. This big fat firing switch, the fact that the knife is so big and bulky and powerful feeling, and the fact that the blade throws so hard, it's just absolutely satisfying every single time I deploy it. I don't need this knife as a regular Joe. I don't do anything special or tactical with knives. I just like it. I also like the look of the new Scarab 2 Gen 3 better than the old one. These the areas here look a little bit different. This side is definitely different than the standard Scarab 2. Just really, really enjoy it, and it's done really well. I don't know if I'm just making this up in my head, but I've heard that Microtech is doing a better job with the M390 MK in terms of heat treat. I don't know. I think I just like to believe that, but the edge seems to be doing pretty well. And this did go through, it doesn't look like I've used it a ton, but it did go through quite a bit of cardboard over the last few days, especially obviously with Christmas. And it doesn't seem to have any edge issues. You know, if it's really, really soft, like 57 or so, that's the type of HRC that I notice almost immediately going through cardboard that it's going to dull. This doesn't seem to be doing that. It's been very reliable. It has not failed at one time, and I sit around, as easy as it is to deploy this, I sit around and do that a lot. This has really been a joy. Expensive knife at $500, but wow. I'm really glad that I wasn't sure that I would be like, yeah, that was totally worth it after owning, you know, the previous generation. But yeah, I have really been enjoying this one. Moving on here to the true top two. These two have shared almost identical pocket time, but the more I think about it, one has had more pocket time than the other. Number two, highly recommendable. This is the Demco Shark Cub. This one in particular is aluminum and DLC coated 20 CV. You have a few different options for these, including like your cheaper injectable plastic and OS 10 versions. I think those are like 80 or 90 bucks. You have G10 and 20 CV, aluminum 20 CV. There's even titanium on DLC. Whatever version you get, this is essentially a perfect compact EDC knife. As I've said many times, this is everything that is great about the 20.5, but what they've done is shrunk it down without reducing any utility. The cutting edge is almost identical. The choke up spots are almost identical. And while the handle is shorter, this one, the only thing that makes it longer is that little hump right there. So really, you have almost identical ergonomic space. And while this pocket clip isn't great, this is a Lynch clip, right? I need to get a different clip for this. It's really, I mean, and even like the opening hole, like the deployment hole, I feel like is better. I also like this slicer grind in particular better. I mean, this knife retired the 20.5 for me, and the 20.5 got a lot of use. This one got a ton of use. This, in my opinion, is the most superior EDC product that Demco Knives has created. And I love the 20.5. I love the full-size 80-20. It's great. It's just really, really bulky. Like if you need, I guess, an apocalypse folder, go with that one. But for the vast majority of people, the size of this, the compactness, the thinness, and especially the durability and capability of that shark lock, this is so good. It is absolutely awesome. And it's cool. It'll put a smile on your face every time you get it out and use it. I feel like some people are going to have a little bit of an issue with the amount of force required to pull that shark lock down, but you'll get the hang of it. Some people are just not going to like the opening hole. I think they have versions like this. The cheaper versions have the thumb studs. There's little things that they could tweak about this knife to make it slightly better. I would love some contoured G10, contoured aluminum, contoured titanium scales, even though I know that'd make the price go up. And admittedly, the price is one of the only issues with it. The premium versions feel slightly overpriced, and the budget options also feel slightly overpriced. But then again, the amount of utility and convenience that comes with this knife is really unmatched. There's a lot of great stuff in the knife world right now, and I find myself reaching for this guy just as much, just slightly less than my number one spot, which, by the way, I have a huge bias for because I designed it. Surprise, surprise, the number one knife I've been carrying is the knife I designed, which looks like a plug, but also, if you design your own knife and you have it, you're probably going to carry it. This knife, admittedly, is not as utilitarian or convenient as the Shark Cub. This is a much more cumbersome knife. It's much heavier, right? But the joy of deploying it, the joy of manipulating a knife that I designed as my own ideal pocket knife is just it's too overwhelming. I love it. I'm carrying it purely for the joy that it brings me, and it does bring me the most joy. Also recently included one of their short Damascus clips, just because I thought it looks cool. But there's a bunch of different options for pocket clips. But yeah, these have started to ship, and we're still, the pre-orders are still open. So if you pick one up right now, you can expect it to ship somewhat shortly. Obviously, we're going to fulfill the first pre-orders first, and then they have to ship over the ocean, so they're going to take a bit. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody who pre-ordered this knife. I think you guys will be really satisfied with it. Something that I've noticed, obviously, the Vanax is a huge fingerprint magnet, definitely. everything that I have put this through, every little, what looked like a mark or little bits of debris or this, that I even sharpened a pencil with it. Not that lead is hard, but I've done my best to mark this blade up. And as I've showcased many times, when it's true DLC, those scratches will come off. Short of launching the blade across your driveway, scratches from normal use will easily wipe off. And that DLC has done it, definitely. Outside of fingerprint, you have to constantly wipe the fingerprints off. The other nice thing is Vanax, the way that Kumu is heat treating it, which is 60 to 61. I think that's the absolute pinnacle hardness you can get Vanax to. This blade is awesome. It's been so great. The edge retention has been awesome. The the thinness behind the edge, like it's such a slicey knife. Every time I get it out, and again, I'm biased because I designed it. Every time I get this thing out, it's such a joy to hold, to manipulate, to deploy, to use, right? It's just a little bit bulky, a little heavy versus some other stuff, but man, what a joy. Really, really enjoying carrying this. And I might, realizing that this is going to be an absolutely permanent part of my rotation, I might, moving forward, disqualify this one from being on the list. I'll probably mention it, if it's still actually in my rotation. But I know that the top 5 most carried videos are not nearly as fun if there's one that's always at the top and I have a huge bias for it. So the last 2, which is the time that I've spent with my my final version of this knife since I got it, it's been on the list and obviously it's at the top now. But moving forward, I'll probably do the top 5 out of my own, top 5 without including Excalibur, which is going to be a given, right? Yeah, really, really great. So anyways, we have in the number 1 spot by just a tiny little bit, the Kunlun Metal Complex Excalibur. We have the Demco Shark Cub. We have the Microtech Scarab 2 Gen 3. We have the new Spyderco Shaman in Cobalt and CPM Spy 27. And then we have the Civivi Neurohaptic. Very, very cool. I'll link everything down in the description, but that's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex if you enjoyed this video. Leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.